I am Rachel Meliotis, a senior editor at O'Reilly Media, and I am here with Leslie Hawthorn and Amye Scavarda, and they are speakers at OSCON 2013. So you did a session on growing your career in open source. What led you to submit that?
I thought it'd be fun to do something about choose your own adventure in terms of the way that we look at open source and all of the various things you can do. And it really is like the old choose your own adventure books where you get to pick up a page and go all through, turn here to go down the waterfall. What happens at the end of the waterfall?
And there's also the opportunity to speak with the audience about using the concepts of open source development methodologies to actually apply to speccing out your career path and understanding where you want to be in the future. So
it wasn't quite that formal, but it's close enough.
I'm having a formal day.
So say you want to branch out from whatever you're doing day to day. What are sort of some first steps towards doing that?
I'll let you take this one first.
Excellent. So I actually use Postit note methodology.
Okay.
So I will literally map out all of the things that I am doing, all of the things that I think I want to do, and all of the things that are deeply frustrating me. And I just sort of arrange these all on a wall. And then I come back to it every day for a week and start removing things from the I love this pile if they're going to the frustrations pile, adding things into various categories and reshuffling, and then meditate upon that when you have for another week. And I know this sounds very crazy, old school and analog, but this is a way to actually visualize everything that's kind of going on in your universe and relatively real time, and then using that to actually go, okay, these are the paths that are going to lead me to success. These are the paths that are going to lead me to consternation and tears. Guess which one you should choose? It's the first one.
Yes, but sometimes you don't always know what that's going to be. And I look at it a little differently in terms of I tend to make a lot of lists, and I make lists of lists. And then from there, I look and see, what do I really, really want to be on my list that is not here yet? And then when it's on my list, okay, did I really want that to be here? What other things did I want to be here? And where does the kind of tree fall from there? So I think it's similar in terms of the way that it actually ends in the end, but you do a more tactile kind of looking at things.
It's true, it's very kinesthetic.
Right, and I make just writings on paper, so different learning styles, different visual styles,
Sure.
But starting from where you are currently, looking at where you would want to be,
right.
Looking at someone's job that you're like, wow, they do a really cool thing.
Yep.
Maybe I could do that thing. How did they get from here to there? And sometimes there are limits around, I would like to be a rocket scientist, but I trained as an artist. Sort of.
So that brings up a good point, actually. How do you honestly evaluate yourself and where you could go? You kind of talk about that with the notes.
Right. So I think that part of understanding how to sort of establish your current baseline is talking about the things that you're really good at, talking and being really honest and self-critical about the things you're bad at. And this does not mean having imposter syndrome or not doing an adequate assessment of your skill set, but there are all areas where we can improve, and starting with the things that you are the least good at as a way to improve yourself is not really necessarily the best option, because then you're going to
be frustrated, and it's going to be sad, and you won't be happy, and you won't be pleased to work on the things that you actually suck at.
And therefore, how are you actually going to get anywhere? But taking the things where you're in the middle, I could be a bit better at this, small steps, incremental improvements, iterate, and then when you get to the point where that's moved from the to the wow pile, then, go back into the pool. And hopefully, as a part of that process, some of the things that were in the, I can't even touch that pile, may have progressed towards the maybe pile.
That's actually brilliant. I feel like I could use that in my life.
On the other hand,
I'm so glad we say useful things.
There's another thing that happens out of that sometimes, because you will sometimes say, I don't really like that. Maybe I don't know enough about it. And then you go and you take a class in it, where you read 4 or 5 different books, and you go, nope, I was right. I did not like that thing. That thing is not for me. Now I know more about it, but I still don't want that.
That's true. So what about learning programming languages and techniques and stuff? Do you suggest that's something that you do kind of constantly, or with a vision towards, I'm going to be a Pythonista, or, something like that?
I'm going to give you the lawyer answer, which is it depends.
Okay.
So I think that is highly dependent on the person and their particular path forward. So if I, for example, was saying, well, I would like to become a more effective programmer, and so therefore all of these people are talking about this cool Python thing, so I'm going to go learn Python. That's one way to go about it. I think that some people are much better at sort of the hunt and peck method. I want to try a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, and experiment and see what actually works for them before they dive down deep. And again, this is all about your personal learning style, what approach you take, and what you think is going to be most effective for you. But we're going to try and cover all of those styles.
And I think the other thing to be able to talk around that is also there's another way to go for it. So you say, hunt and peck, and I say, I think it's better to be consistent about it. I think it's better to have a muscle memory of I'm constantly learning and constantly working through this so that I have a consistent practice of remembering to learn new things and remembering to unlearn things that I have learned before, because the way that we have done things before now might not be the same way that we're doing it in the future, so practicing unlearning at the same time as you are learning.
Interesting. So can you actually tell me, keeping it anonymous, some success stories that you know of where people have been like, I'm not happy where I am, I'm going to go here, and then they got there?
We do this all the time. Both of us do this all the time in our own different practices with each other around.
Would you like to anonymously describe me while I think about a way to anonymously describe you?
Oh, I can anonymously describe me as well. It's mostly about the idea of, hey, I am feeling stuck. I am feeling unhappy. I don't feel like I'm doing the things that I wanted to be able to do in my own freelance career. Let me go reach out to all of the open source companies that I know are looking for a particular thing, and let me see if there's something that's going to fit for there. So I did freelance project management for a number of years and decided that, it's fun, but I want to be part of a company. So I went and joined a company to do new client onboarding with kind of like an eye towards strategic development, which was sort of like, well, I don't really know all of these things, but from there you take steps to go, okay, here's where we are, here's where we need to be. You apply for the jobs that look like you're 60% of the way there. Let's figure it out. All of these things are going to be interesting to me enough to be able to say, I'm either going to learn it and really, really succeed at it, or it's not going to be the right thing, and I can move on, and I'm never going to be stuck.
Awesome. Well, I think this will be helpful. I mean, an honest evaluation and figuring out where you want to go. So it has been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.